to North Carolina's pines. They walked those miles with hope still in their minds. With every step, the pain was hard to bear. Yet through the tears, they chose to persevere. In Tennessee, they felt the river's cold embrace. Their spirit strong, no hardship could erase. The land of ancestors fading in their view, but their hearts held firm, love for what they knew. On the trail of tears where sorrow met the land, they carried dreams within a calloused hand. In Oklahoma, they found strength in pain, survived the journey through the snow and rain.
A lot of new faces since I've been attending these conferences. Jack, we're related to Jack Baker, our family is, and he told my dad's oldest brother, Uncle Bill, about the conference way back when. I think it was probably, like 2003 or something like that. And Uncle Bill then told my grandma about it, and my Aunt Cleta, and my dad, and then me. And so I became interested in it. I went to my first conference in Cherokee, North Carolina. I think it was like 2004 or something like that. It might have been earlier, I don't remember. But I started learning about the Trail of Tears as far as the removal routes. And I joined the Tennessee chapter, and Bill Jones and Shirley Lawrence and Cleta Townsend and Floyd Ayers, they all started really helping me figure some stuff out. I didn't realize that where I lived in Nashville at the time, that Mill Creek, a site that every northern route detachment camped at, 4 miles from Nashville, it was 2 miles from my house, and I had no idea. And I thought, why don't I know this? Why doesn't anybody know this stuff? So I thought there's got to be a way to put these old maps into some kind of program so we can start figuring out where these roads are, these original road beds. And so I, as an adult, went back to school, went to Haskell Indian Nations University, and that was my first thing that I asked when I got there. There was this thing going on where you find out about the different classes and stuff, and there was a GIS class, and I thought, what's GIS? And I went and talked to him, and I just saw maps on the wall, and I knew it was something to do with maps. I was like, is there a way to put old maps into new maps and find out where you are on the earth? And they were like, yeah. So I said, sold. And so I've been on that path ever since. So I think what makes what I'm doing different, so first of all, I graduated from Haskell. I went on to KU and got a master's in geography, and further developed GIS and geospatial technology skills, and did a story map with the Eastern Band for Homeland Story sites. And then from there, I'm now at West Virginia University, and I'll be graduating this year with my PhD. This is my dissertation project, but I think what has been amazing about all this is what I started way back at Haskell in 2007, I've carried with me. And so each skill that I've learned, each tool or geospatial technology or whatever that I've learned along the way, I've incorporated into my final project. Also the knowledge that I gained from that time to now, I've incorporated into this project when it comes to the Cherokee. So I think what makes this project different too from other ones that we've seen is that I'm developing this from a Cherokee perspective. I'm telling this story from a Cherokee perspective, and everything I do is for the Cherokee Nation. Of course, others can participate, and I want them to, but I really want young people to know where they came from. So that's my focus for all of this. What I have here is called a deep map. And this deep map, it's a multi-layered perspective of place. And for me, place is our homeland. And what people don't understand is that, yeah, we crossed the Tennessee River and we left our homeland, but did we really? No. Our homeland, according to maps that were pre-colonial times, even 1755 Mitchell map, shows the homeland as being out to the Mississippi River, which according to him, and I'm not sure anybody can find this, but in 1729, the Cherokee gave England all of the lands between what people think is the edge of our boundary to the Mississippi River and north in 1729. So the Cherokee homeland really is huge. It extends from what you see here as the southern boundary all the way to the Mississippi River, comes up here along the Ohio River. They call this to the land of the Six Nations. So we border the Six Nations up here. We come down, and then we border the land of the Catawba over here. And then down here, we border the land of the Creek, the Choctaw, and the Chickasaw. So our homeland is really about 135,000 square miles. And when we are on this journey, it's fresh in everybody's mind that's an adult that, yeah, we're leaving what was our temporary home for a little while, but we're now moving through what was our homeland since the beginning, you know? So those things are all going through their mind as they're traveling through this land. So this deep map, like I said, it's huge, it's multi-perspective, it has multi-technologies in it, and I'm only one person, so I'm developing what I can right now, but then I'm needing partners, and so I'm partnering, of course, with the Cherokees Association, but I've been talking to the Cherokee Nation trying to get this under their umbrella. And the reason I do that is because once I graduate, I don't have access to any of this. And if Cherokee Nation partners with me and I'm able to bring this under their umbrella, then I can transfer all of this under there. But if it's too big, I have to completely rebuild the whole thing. Yeah, so I'll just show you a little bit of what I have developed. Okay, so you go to the site. This is built on what's called a web experience. It's Experience Builder and ESRI. It's something new that came out just a couple years ago. It came out to the public. It was just in beta format before. So this allows me to do this multi-layered perspective of place, bring in a lot of different elements. So we start here. When you log into the site, this is what comes up, the homeland of the Cherokee Nation. And then from there, you begin your journey, and you can make your selection. You can have this story in Cherokee, or you can have it in English, okay? When you click on these different things, you can format it to where it's in a large screen device, tablet, or a small screen device. And that's something that we have to develop individually. They try to make you think that you can do it all at once, but inevitably it squishes and it doesn't look good. So you have to build them individually. You know. So I'm going to say English because I unfortunately don't speak Cherokee. Grandma was fluent in it, but she didn't teach any of us or her kids. And I'm going to, since I'm on this laptop, I'm going to choose my large screen device. Then it brings me into my dissertation title, which is Walking in the Footsteps of My Ancestors, a Deep Map of Cherokee Forest Removal. So this particular picture has significant meaning. The owl is a messenger of death. And so these people are walking under a cloud of death. So you enter this site, and now you get to choose your perspective. But for Cherokee citizens, what I want them to do first, and we're working on this, is to click here, and it'll take them to a site that they can find out. I just put this one up here for demonstration. But it'll take them to a site that they'll enter their citizenship number, and it'll tell them which removal routes their ancestors walked. Then they can come back here and they can say, oh, okay, I want to go to my detachment. So for me, I know 2 detachments that my family walked in, like all the ancestors on my dad's side were on the removal. And so I know 2 of them I know for sure is Elijah Hicks and Peter Hildebrand. So I'm going to choose Peter Hildebrand. And he's not listed here, so I'm going to click over here and find out. Okay, here's Peter Hildebrand. And so now I'm going to do this little thing, and I'm going to say, oh, I can have a young girl, young boy, mom, dad, grandma, or grandpa perspective. Well, I think I'm going to go with a young girl. So this is English for a young girl. And up comes the table of contents. And each one of these you can enter directly. But for now, we're just focusing on Tennessee because I have to graduate, so I can't do it all.
Please step down.
Yeah. So I enter part 1.
Yeah.
And if I find out that I've chosen the wrong thing, you know, like I'm like, oh, Hildebrand, oh, shoot, it was supposed to be Taylor, I can go back and select the perspective that I want. So part 1 is the experience.
Sure.
And so we begin with the story of this young girl. She's writing it in her diary. And we know that pen and paper and ink and all that stuff was scarce, but she was a really good student. And so her teacher, before the schools were shut down, her teacher gave her as a gift pen and paper and ink so that she could further her writing skills. That was the promise she made. And then her dad gave her a writing box. He made her a writing box. And so when the roundup happened, they weren't going to be able to take anything, but her dad told her that he worked it out with the soldiers, they could go back in the house and get something. And so her mom told them that they had to get a change of clothes and one other item that was most important, and she knew she was going to get that writing box. So she got her change of clothes and her writing box. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this, not much because I don't have a lot of time. But this is Thursday, October 18th. We are in the midst of preparation, but I have made the decision that I am going to keep a diary of our journey west. And so it goes on to say that what I just told you, the other thing that you can do is you can click on this here and you can listen to it, because I know that this is going to be difficult to read for some kids because they don't own cursive anymore. But what this is teaching them, every single choice I made was for a reason. This handwriting was from a 5th grader in the 1800s. That's the font. And so what this is going to teach them is that as they grow older and they're reading this, they remember what this looks like. And so when it goes their turn to do archival record research, they know what this kind of thing looks like, right? So it's introducing them to that. So they can listen to it and then read along. And I wanted this to act like a chapter book. I didn't want that endless scrolling. I wanted them to be able to turn a page. I wanted to do page flipping, but it didn't work, so I just have an arrow. So we go through, and she's telling the story of the roundup from her perspective and what it was like, and then going into the encampments or the holding stockades, what that was like. And then talking about what it was like in the stockades with, you know, the sickness and all that kind of stuff. And this is not a specific person's story. This is created from a lot of archival records that I blended together. But it is the story. And so she goes on to say how she's starting to give up hope. because they've been in the stockade for so long, and she's thinking that they're all just going to die there. And she starts calling them the hellholes. And her mom tells her to be strong, face forward, pray, have courage, and keep going. And so just when about she's given up hope, they find out that the council has decided that the Cherokee are going to be in charge of their own removal. So John Ross, takes that to the United States, and they agree to it. And so now they leave the stockades, and she's assigned to the Hildebrand camp. Her family is. So in the stockades, their families are all split up, they're everywhere. But when they come back and they're able to be on their own camps, they put them into, groups of about 1,000, you all know that. But they try to make them with clan, kinship, and close friends, just like it would be in a village. So she's now surrounded with family. And the men are able to hunt again. They're able to gather some food, natural foods that they're used to eating. And they're trying to get themselves healthy for the journey.
Or that.
So it goes on to say that they're camped along the Hiwassee, and where the Ocoee and the Hiwassee meet, they call it the Ocoee camp. Hildebrand's Ford is just right below it on the Ocoee, so he's very familiar with that area. There's a picture of the Hiwassee. And then I'm just going to go through this real quick. It keeps going, and then finally time for them to leave, and she talks about how she sees what it's like to cross the river and everything. So I'm going to end it here, but as far as this part of it, this map that you see right here will eventually be interactive, as far as it'll be an animation and a movement. And it'll go through once a week. She wanted to write every day, but it's just too much. She couldn't do it because of the long hours. So she writes once a week when they're resting, unless a week is skipped. So this is where I'm going to end this one, but it does go further, all the way to the border of Tennessee. So now you kind of see what the diary looks like. I'm going to return to the table of contents, and I'm going to, for those that have read the journal or read the perspective, and they're like, you know what, I want to know more about this. I want a deeper understanding. So we're going to go to a deeper understanding. And this deeper understanding is now set in modern time, because I'm not going to write the whole thing, in historical setting, because this is now. So this deeper understanding is, why did this happen? And so I have this 3 reasons from my dissertation, and the reasons are the doctrine of discovery that eventually went to scientific racism. So you can click this here and read what I wrote about the doctrine of discovery. So that's one read. If you want to know more, there's additional factors that lead up to this. And they include the way that the Cherokee had supported the English during the war. White settlers decided they couldn't trust them. There was just all kinds of things. But there's additional factors. And then, of course, there's the outcomes of the legal recourse. So it talks about all of the cases. So after you get through that and you still want to know more, you can return to the table of contents. And you can say, I want to know what this is, the act of remembering. So the act of remembering, I'm going to read this. Elders tell us that the earth remembers our footprints, even those apparently erased by greed and injustice are remembered by place. If, as the quote from Mona Smith would suggest, the earth remembers our footprints, then it is safe to say that it also remembers our histories. The earth remembers, it does not forget.
Yes.
So I won't read the whole thing, but it talks about how the act of remembering. It's an actual physical act. And that's the only thing that will keep us from genocide. And because genocide happens when people forget. So that then takes us to current times. And this is the Hildebrand Road on old road beds all the way to the border. And on this map, it's got some statistics. There will be many more statistics, but this shows you what the slope is as you're going along. Extremely steep slope, gentle slope, little to no slope, modern to, moderate slope. So you have all that information, and then you can click on these, like here at Blythe Ferry, you could click on that, and it'll take you to the Cherokee Removal Memorial Park. So that's all up and down. You can find different things. The other thing that we have is partners and contributors.
Oh.
So right now, I just put the Trailatiers Association up, but I can put anybody up that, wants to be part of this. And so all of the partners or contributors will link to your sites and like the National Park Service so that individuals can go and check out all of that. And so that pretty much is my talk, because I think the lights are flickering for me. I was like, is there a storm going on? So that, in a nutshell, is what this Experience Builder is, this deep map and all of the components. So thank you very much for your time.
Here's where sorrow met the land. They carry dreams within